Now, it says that the contributing factors are extremely weak governance by elected councillors and also very bad financial policies and management, among others. Ratings Afrika has published its annual Municipal Financial Sustainability Index for the financial results of the 104 largest local municipalities, plus the 8 metros in South Africa. So we're joined right now by Ratings Afrika analyst Leon Claassen. He's joining us via Zoom. Leon, thanks so much for your time and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be on.
Leon, the analysis is obviously based on municipal financial year ending June 2022. But let's just talk first about the model that you use for scoring.
Yeah, it's a scoring model that we've developed a number of years ago. We started publishing the MFSI in 2011, so it's basically 12 years running now. It covers basically 6 components that we analyze. It's the operating performance, the liquidity of the municipality, its level of borrowings, the budget position, whether it's got a funded budget, and also the affordability of the rates and tariffs that they charge to the residents of the municipality. And we also look at the level of the infrastructure development and the spending that they make there. So these are the 6 components that we analyze. We score them out of 100, and then we apply somewhat different weights to each component to arrive at an overall sustainability score, which is out of 100. And as you mentioned, yes, we cover for 2022, we covered 104 local municipalities plus the 8 metros, so in total 112.
So before we break that down, Leon, since Ratings Afrika published its first Municipal Financial Sustainability Index in 2011, has there been any improvement in financial sustainability of the municipal sector, would you say?
Unfortunately not. I've got some of the statistics here with me. When we look at a couple of years ago, say 8 years ago, 2015, the average for the local municipalities was a score of 44 out of 100. The average now is 36 out of 100. So there's a decline of 8 points over the last 8 years. Even the metros that's supposed to be the powerhouses, the economic powerhouses in South Africa, they've actually declined quite a bit more, from a score of 55, an average score of 55, to only 41 in 2022. So unfortunately, the situation is just looking bleaker and bleaker every year. And it doesn't seem to me that there's any effort from central government or provinces to rectify the situation.
So let's start with the provinces then, Leon. If we look at the provinces, which are the best performing provinces maybe, and can we work our way down to the ones that are really performing poorly?
Yeah, if we look at the average scores of the municipalities in the provinces, the Western Cape has the highest score and has always been the highest since we started with this index. The average for the Western Cape was 52 out of 100. Then if we just go down, say, alphabetically from the Eastern Cape, their average was 29. The Free State was 21. Gauteng was 34. Limpopo, which is 37. Mpumalanga is 23. Sorry, let me just see. Northern Cape was 23, Northwest of 21, and KwaZulu-Natal was 38. So it's a dismal picture when you look at the municipalities, because we normally view a score of about 35 as a municipality becoming financially unsustainable. And if we look at the average of 36, it's on the brink of the majority of municipalities in South Africa are to be considered to be non-sustainable.
And I think what that evidence bears out is what South Africans are going through on a daily basis, because we actually see this right before our eyes, Leon. If we look at our municipalities, if you look at our towns and cities as you traverse through them, it is evident that decline. So, the empirical evidence actually bears out what the lived reality is. But would you say government is aware, or maybe are they acknowledging what is happening, and are they taking any necessary steps to actually try and turn around the situation? Is there any evidence of that?
Well, I think government has started to acknowledge that there is a big problem, and they want to make a contribution, and that is something that we've said all along, is that government will have to bail out these municipalities, because when we look at the let's say the liquidity shortages, that they don't have enough cash to pay the creditors and pay Eskom and so forth. That amount for 2022 is a staggering 65 billion rand. That's the liquidity, the aggregate of the liquidity shortfalls that the municipalities in South Africa have. Now, what we have is, what we've seen now just recently, is National Treasury launching an initiative to write off the debt that the municipalities owe to Eskom. Now, that amount that they put aside for that was 57 billion. And the municipalities need to comply with a number of conditions before they will be allowed to write off their debt that they owe to Eskom. But that money will actually come from National Treasury and from the government. And the taxpayer is funding that. And that's what we've said all along, is this liquidity shortages will have to be funded by government to try and make the municipalities, get them on a level footing. But then, obviously, they will have to make big adjustments to their financial management to make sure that they don't fall into this bad situation again. Unfortunately, yes, National Treasury is doing something, but it's going to cost the taxpayer 57 billion.
But looking at that evidence, Leon, you have National Treasury that can step in and try and assist in the medium to short term. But if nothing changes materially on the ground, surely this is just going to repeat itself. It's a never-ending cycle. And how many times can Treasury actually bail out these municipalities? Isn't there something fundamentally necessary that needs to change in terms of not just the funding model, but the overall structure of our municipalities?
Well, I think, if we look at the Western Cape, most of the municipalities in the Western Cape are considered to be financially sustainable. So I think we've got a model that's working. I think most municipalities in South Africa should be able to take some guidance from the Western Cape to see how it is and how they do it, and how they can make municipalities financially sustainable, even in difficult circumstances. And if you look a couple of years ago, the Western Cape experienced a drought that affected the municipalities. Then there was COVID. Now it's the load shedding. And even through all these problems, they seem to be able to manage the municipalities in a proper way. So I don't think we need major restructuring of municipalities. We just need good management. And as I mentioned in our report, good governance by the councillors. But it seems to me that is totally not happening at the moment. So these are the two aspects that I think we need to address urgently and correct. Otherwise, the cycle is just going to repeat itself over and over, and we're not going to find any solution to the problem. And unfortunately, the residents, and that is the majority of people in South Africa, are going to suffer from poor service delivery from the municipalities.
As we wrap this up, Leon, let's just run through, some of the better performing municipalities and those that are not doing so well. So let's start with the metros. Where's the shining light, and where are we in need of a serious help?
Well, the city of Cape Town has always been head and shoulders above the rest of the metros in South Africa. The score of city of Cape Town is 68. The average for the metros is 41. The two lowest scoring municipalities, they equal at the bottom. is Mangaung with a score of 24, and City of Tshwane also with a score of 24. So that's the picture of the metros that we have. If we look at the local municipalities, just to get to that page. If we look through the provinces quickly, Senqu, that's Lady Grey, 56. Free State is Metsimaholo, Sasolburg, 39. Gauteng, that's the only one in Gauteng that's actually scoring very well, is Midvaal. That's also the highest scoring in South Africa for 2022, equal with Western Cape's Saldanha Bay. They've also got a score of 72. Those are the two highest scoring in South Africa. Quadricuza is 36. Lepele Tumpi is 64. That's in Limpopo. Mpumalanga, Steve Tshwete, a score of 40. Northern Cape, Gasegunyala, that's 52. And JB Marks, that's Potchefstroom in Northwest with a score of 35. So these are the highest scoring in South Africa.
And just finally, the lowest, which are the ones that are really struggling?
Unfortunately, the scores are very low. I don't know whether you can still call these entities municipalities, but let me quickly run through them. And the Eastern Cape, Enoch Makajima, that's Queenstown with a score of 12. In the Free State, we've got Machabeng, that's Welkom with a score of 11. Gauteng, Rand West City, score of 19. KwaZulu-Natal, Newcastle, 15. Limpopo is Mogalakwena, 19. Mpumalanga is Lekwa, that's Standerton with a score of 11. In the Northern Cape, the R in Mtantsheni with a score of 17. Naledi in the Northwest, that's Vryburg, with a score of 7. And the Western Cape lowest one is Beaufort West with a score of 21. These are the weaker or the weakest in South Africa at the moment. And you're quite right, when you drive through those towns, the decay and the destruction is visible throughout and physically you can just see that in each of these municipalities.
Well, Leon, we're going to have to leave it there, but thanks so much for sharing that information with us and for giving us a snapshot of exactly how these municipalities and metros are faring. Ratings Africa analyst Leon Claassen speaking about the bad state of our South African municipalities.